Hey, what's up? Mula MJ Godson from SchoolFAQs.net, and in this beginner video we are going to be writing a simple C program to calculate the area of a circle. Now our objective in this video is to practice data types, how to perform simple mathematical calculations, how to display output, and how to read input. So the area of a circle, the formula to calculate the area of a circle is always given as pi radius squared, or we can write it as pi times radius times radius. The next thing is the data type. Now, when choosing the data type for a variable, it's always important to think about all the values that we can store inside that variable. For instance, what do I mean? For instance, we can have the radius of a circle to be, say, 5 inches or 5 centimeters. This is a valid value. We can also have the radius of a circle to be something like 3.5 centimeters. Now, the first one, which is 5 centimeters, this is an integer, while the second one, which is 3.5 centimeters, is a float. Which means that if you write a program and you use just integer and you store the radius as an integer, this means users who enter their values as floats will have wrong calculations. And so it is much more safer to declare that variable as a float. The next thing is when we perform our calculations, we also have to store the results inside another variable. And if you perform a calculation that involves a float, there's a high chance that the result is also going to be a float. So we also have to store the area inside another variable, which is a float. So with that in mind, let's begin writing our program. So first things first, I'm going to include my preprocessor directives. So include stdio standard input output .h, which is the header library file. And then I'm going to write my main function, which is the entry point into our program. So this is the boilerplate of our code. So I'm going to just be writing comments within the code as we are going. So the first thing is to declare our variables. Declare variables, and I'll just say declare variables and constants. And you're going to see why. So why do I say declare variables and constants? Because the value of pi is a constant. We all know that in mathematics the value of pi is equal to 22 divided by 7, or 3.14. So the value of pi does not change. In that case, when writing our program, we can just declare the value already as a constant by using the const, the const keyword. So we can say const, and then we give the data type of that constant. So we say const float, and we're going to say pi is equal to 3.14. I put my semicolon. So this is how we declare constants in the C programming language. You use the const keyword const, and then the next thing is the data type of the variable name, and then the value of that constant. So we've declared our constant pi. The next thing is to declare our variables. So we're going to have float radius, and we're not going to give it a value because we're going to receive the value when we run the program. The users are going to be the ones giving the value. Float radius, and after doing our calculations, we want to store it inside another variable called area. Now the next thing is to ask the user for the radius. Ask the user for the radius. Yeah. Ask the user for the radius. Yeah. So to do this, we have to use a printf statement, and printf statement helps us to display things on the screen. So I will just say enter the radius. I don't know what is happening that I keep spelling radius wrong. So enter the radius, and now we have to take what the user has typed and store it inside the variable we created above. So we're going to use the scanf for that. And scanf, it takes two inputs. So the first thing is the format specifier, which is for float, it is %f. We put a comma, and then we store that value inside the variable that we declared above. So we store that radius inside the variable called radius. Keep in mind, this is the variable up here that we declared. So we're going to use the same variable here to store what the user has typed. Perfect. So after getting the radius, the next thing we want to do is to calculate the area. So to do that, we're just going to say area equal to pi, which is the constant we declared above, times radius times radius. Pi times radius. And now the next thing is to display the result. So to do that, we're going to be using another printf statement, and here we'll just say the area is, and now we have to use the format specifier for floats because the data type of area is float. If you look above here, when we're declaring area, we use the float, so that's why we have to indicate that the data type, this format specifier is %f. So now that we have this, we can just go ahead and return 0, and our program is complete. At this point, let's run it and see what it gives. So we'll start with an integer 5, and it has calculated the area for us, 78.50000 something. Great, that went well. Now we're going to run it again, and this time we're going to use a float. So here I'll just enter something like 7.5, and it has also given us another value, 176.625015. Amazing. So you can see that the values come out remaining decimal places. Now in C programming, sometimes we want to reduce the number of decimal places in our answers. So for instance, instead of something like 65.87654 this, we can want our answer to just be, say, 65.888. Yeah, so we can just make it to be 2 decimal places or 3 decimal places, etc. So the way we do that is in our printf statement, where we have the format specifier. Here on %f, you just do percentage dot, and then we can say .2f, %.2f. Now this means the answer is going to be reduced to just 2 decimal places. If I run it again and I put 7.5, our answer now is 176.63. If I reduce this 2f to 1f and we run it, you see that the answer now is going to be 176.6, which is just 1 decimal place. If I even put it to, say, 5 and I run it again, it's going to give our answer in 5 decimal places. So hope you learned something in this video, and see you in the next video.